Testing, testing. Testing, testing.
Testing, testing.
Okay. So Shalom, I got the issue fixed with I got that situation fixed with my camera. Now many of you probably don't know I'm live right now. But I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do this message. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. It's about 5:30 a.m. And I just want to knock this message down and then go about my day because I need to find some point in this day to take me a nice long nap. Okay? Now, I'm going to try to do this message in 2 hours because I got to be somewhere at 8 o'clock. So I have 4 parts to this message. There are 4 segments to this message. I want to start off with common sense. Okay? I want to start off with common sense. All right. There's not much scripture here. In my opening case, I'm not going to use a lot of scripture. This is my common sense case, okay? And I want you all to listen very carefully, okay? This is my common sense case. Excuse me. Flat Earth is a vain philosophy, all right? I just woke up. There's a lot of people out here. You know, NASA really got y'all duped. Okay? That's why everybody can't be a prophet. Now, I know this is going to make a lot of people angry. Okay? But I'm sorry. I just have to say it. Everybody cannot be a prophet. Okay? You know why? You know why I'm learning this? Because some of this stuff has to be foolish to you, even when you're a young boy. You understand what I'm saying? I remember when I was in elementary school. Now, I know everybody didn't think like this in elementary school. And it's okay. It doesn't make you any less than a person. It just goes to show you in many cases true prophets of Christ. It's instilled in us when we were young. It's instilled in us when we were young. Okay? The earth being shaped like a basketball. NASA really duped a lot of us. He duped a lot of you all out there. But I remember there was my science teacher in elementary school. Her name was Miss Thigpen. Miss Thigpen. Big old light-skinned lady. That was my science teacher. And she used to teach me about the planets and how the planets revolved around the sun. Okay? She used to teach me about the planets and how the planets revolved around the sun. I always had a problem with that, even in elementary school. Okay? Let me tell you why I had a problem with that. Because I used to look up in the sky and I used to see the sun. Okay? I used to look up in the sky and I would see the sun. And science would tell me that the earth is revolving around the sun, but the sun was right there in the sky. There are 4 segments to this message. The first segment is the common sense segment. And the other 3 segments are scriptural. But I want to move because I want to get all of this done, especially by 8 o'clock. She and science, my elementary school science teacher in Nassau told her that 9 planets are revolving around the sun. I'm sorry. 9 planets are revolving around the sun, right? But I used to see the sun. I used to look up and I used to see the sun and the moon right there in the sky. And their excuse was that sun that I'm looking right there in the sky at, and I'm feeling such vicious heat from, is 96. They used to tell us that the sun was 96 million miles away from the earth. 96 million miles away from the earth. Now, if the sun is 96 million miles away from the earth, horizontally, because you have vertical, which is up and down, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. You have vertical, which is up and down, and you have horizontal, which is left to right, right to left, south to north, east to west, whatever. Sideways is horizontally. But yet, when you look up in the sky, you can see the whole entire sun. The whole entire sun. So, if the sun is horizontal, and the sun is allegedly so many times bigger than Earth, let's see what NASA says. How big is the sun compared to Earth? This is what NASA says how big the sun is compared to Earth. NASA says that the sun is the biggest celestial object in the solar system. Right off the bat, NASA lied to you. They said that the sun is the biggest celestial object in the solar system, with a radius of 696,340 kilometers, 432,685 miles, and a diameter of 1.3 million kilometers or kilometers. It says 864,000 miles. Earth, for comparison, so how big is the sun? More than 1 million Earths could fit inside the sun. What they're saying is more than 1 million Earths can fit inside the sun. That's what they're saying. I had a problem with this. I said, how can 1 million Earths fit inside of the sun? Well, before I get to that, so it's horizontal. So the sun is allegedly 1 million times larger than Earth. 1 million times larger than Earth. And yet, you can see the whole sun in its entirety in the Earth's atmosphere. Now, if horizontally speaking, if that sun is 1 million times the size of the Earth, if you look up, you would see like a big, you understand what I'm saying? And you wouldn't be able to see the whole thing because too much of it, you wouldn't even really be able to see half of the sun. But that's why they tell you it's 96 million miles away. So they can try to justify that. But still tell me how you would see the entirety of the sun. It's supposed to be horizontal. The solar system is dispositioned horizontally because you're supposed to have the sun, then Mercury, then Earth, or then Mars, and then whatever, and then whatever, and then whatever, and then whatever, all the way down to Pluto. That's horizontal. And all the planets are allegedly supposed to be on an axis going around the sun. All of them on their own axis, going around the sun like this. All of them, right? All of them are supposed to be doing that, right? Now, I just want you to think for a minute. We're going to get to some scriptures, and I can't take too long because I want to get into this. So, I want to read a scripture. This is Colossians 2:8. This is one of the few scriptures I have here in this first segment. See to it that no one takes you captive by philosophy and empty deceit, according to human tradition, according to the elemental spirits of the world, and not according to Christ. Why, Muslims? Because the Muslims, you say, we believe, I know y'all believe in Christ, some of y'all, but you don't worship him, is what you say. Well, that's not fine. That's okay to an extent. But you can't believe in him completely and not understand who he is. He's not an addition or a co-equal separate entity. Christ is not a co-equal separate entity. Christ is the creator. You understand this? And I understand where many of you go wrong because you think it's two separate personalities. Let me read this again. See to it that no one takes you captive by philosophy and empty deceit, according to human tradition, according to the elemental spirits of the world, and not according to Christ. Why not according to Christ? For in him, Christ, for in him the whole fullness of deity dwells bodily. Now, I know y'all thinking, so you saying that when Christ was, because it's talking about Christ. Let me read that one more time, because I know that many of you don't get it, but you do get it, but you don't want to get it. You choose not to get it. I want you to pay very close attention. It says, see to it that no one takes you captive by philosophy and empty deceit, according to the elements, according to human tradition, according to the elemental spirits of the world, and not according to Yahusha. Why? Because he's the law. For in him the whole fullness of deity dwells bodily. You know what that means? That means the entire power elite that created the universe, the Father, dwells within him permanently. Permanently. So you say, well, if he was walking down here, he certainly wasn't the Almighty when he was walking. No, he wasn't. He was a manifestation sent forth from the throne. But some people think that he was not the creator in the flesh. He was the creator in the flesh. Okay? So what you need to understand, well, this is not about Christ. So let's keep moving. But we're not to follow human tradition. And Nassau has given us a human tradition. It's not quite like Christmas and Easter and all of those things, but it's vain deceit. And they've been telling us this for a very long time now. They've been telling us this. Okay? The whole objective of science has two objectives: an attempt to easily explain divinity and to discredit the Most High. That's what science is, an opposition to the Most High. That's why I tell people, just because you're infatuated with science, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to stand by science. You don't stand by science. You understand what I'm saying? You stand by the Bible. And then you let the Bible discredit or credit what science is saying. But you don't do it the other way around. That's very stupid. You understand what I'm saying? So let's get into some common sense questions. This is what Nassau says is happening. Earth spins on its axis once in every 24-hour day. So the Earth is not constantly spinning, so they say. It's not constantly spinning. But it spins on its axis once in every 24-hour day at Earth's equator. The speed of the Earth's spin is about 1,000 miles per hour, or 16 kilometers per hour. This day-night spin has carried you around under the sun and stars every day of your life, and yet you don't feel Earth spinning. Now, let's stop for a minute, right? Does that make sense? Let's start there. Before we even get into some of the back-breaking scriptures, can we start there? Do y'all feel this earth spinning? If any object, now, science tells us two different things because science propellation, I don't know if propellation is a word, but propel force deals with motion to kind of like give energy to move. Let me use the dictionary. Propulsion. What is propulsion? The action or process, okay, the action or process of propelling. It's not telling us what propelling is. What's propelling? Propel. What does it mean to propel? The Merriam-Webster says propel means to drive forward or onward by or as if by means of a force that imparts motion. So to move forward by a force that imparts motion. So we need to understand something. If the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, if any object is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, whatever touches this object is going to fly off of this object. If something is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, I hope y'all with me. If you throw something at the object that's spinning 1,000 miles per hour, because of the spinning, it's just going to deflect the object. If I take a bucket of water, and if I were capable at spinning a bucket of water at 1,000 miles per hour, all of the water would fly out of the bucket. So now, why does science tell us something different when it comes to this planet? So this planet is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, and we don't feel it. But that's not science in every other case, now is it? So what's the exception to this planet? What's the exception to this planet? That's all I want to know. Okay? So, rotation. So we have 24-hour rotation. Now, we have a spin, like what the Globetrotters do with the basketball. That's spinning. And then we have rotation, which is not the exact same thing as spinning. It's not the same thing at all. Well, it could be, but rotate is when something goes around something, or not necessarily. I mean, rotate and spin are not exactly the same thing. As I say, in most cases, they're interchangeable, but they're not interchangeable. So, rotate See, rotate can mean the same thing. Excuse me. Rotate can mean the same thing, but rotate can mean the same thing, but we're not talking about the same thing. So the Earth allegedly rotates around the sun. So NASA says it takes 24 hours. NASA says it takes 24 hours for the Earth to rotate around the sun. So 24 hours. And within that 24 hours period, the Earth spins at 1,000 miles per hour. Now, it doesn't say that it constantly spins, but NASA just recently changed that, because once upon a time, that was NASA's case. Hold on, let me get a napkin. Once upon a time, that was NASA's case. Once upon a time, that was their case. But they changed what they said. Once upon a time, the planet was constantly spinning, allegedly, on its axis. And I believe they used to use one number of 12,000 miles per hour. But now they bumped it down to 1,000 miles per hour. And I'm telling you, they changed it. Just like now, all of a sudden, they notice waters beneath the waters, like the Bible tells us. Okay? We're going to get to all that in a minute. So now NASA has to change their mind because they know that it doesn't make sense. I'm telling y'all, sense is a very important thing. So now they say that the Earth, at some point in time during the 24 hours, spins at 1,000 miles per hour while in the 24-hour rotation around the sun. It doesn't tell us exactly when or how long the Earth does this, but it just says that it does it during the 24-hour rotation. At some point now, the Earth spins at 1,000 miles per hour on its axis, and we don't feel that shit. Why? Next, they're going to say that it's the Earth's core that's spinning and not the entire Earth. Because I'm bringing out this truth. Many of you don't understand the influence of this little ministry. This little ministry has Gabura. You understand that? Now, Earth is allegedly shaped like a basketball. So we're almost done. We're going to move on to the scriptures very, very shortly. So Earth is shaped like a basketball. Well, how so? So if you look at the map of the Earth, if Earth is shaped like a sphere, then why doesn't the water fall off of the sides of the Earth? Because the water, if you look at the sphere, the water is on the side. Because if we want to talk science, let's talk science. Because science now can't say that the water that's on the sides of the earth, the sides of the round basketball, they can't use gravity as an excuse. You know why? Because gravity is vertical. Gravity is up and down. What goes up must come down. The outer space that NASA speaks about is a lie. It's a lie. Because there's no such thing as no gravitational pull. They call it gravity, but they can call it whatever they want to call it. Gravity is really not necessarily a force. The only time, anywhere, ever, do you ever see no quote-unquote gravity is when you see NASA inside of their so-called spacecrafts, floating around. That's the atmosphere created by simulation technology. Let me repeat that. When you see astronauts floating around in their so-called spaceship, or even if it's just a simulation room, that's the simulation technology that's doing that. It's not a so-called no gravity. Okay? Even something that's weightless, because what science tries to say is in quote unquote outer space, you become weightless. Well, first of all, it's no such thing as outer space the way they describe it, but that's another lesson. But they're trying to say that when you go up there, allegedly, you become weightless. And that's why you float or you hover. Now, we know weightless things do hover and float. But even they come down. Quote unquote gravity is not a force. What goes up must come down is a universal law. I don't care about what word that they use. It's universal law that what goes up must drop. That's all. Just that simple. Because you have height and you have depth. D-E-P-T-H. You have height and you have depth. Now, why doesn't the water fall off the sides? Is science's response gravity? Is NASA's response gravity? Because if that's the case, how does gravity apply to something that's on the side of a wall or something that's on the side of a ball? Well, water is not on the side of the planet, homie. Water is on the planet. How? How is water on the planet? Flat, right? Yeah, you're right. Water is not on the side of the planet. I know that. But the globe shows water on the side of the planet. The spherical ball shows water on the side of the planet, even in some underparts of the planet. How then does that water not fall out into space, allegedly, and then starts rising up like little balls or big balls because there's quote unquote no gravity in space? And how does the planet spin 1,000 miles per hour and that water doesn't fling out into space? You tell me, science, because your science also certainly should tell us, because there are some true things about science and there are some false things about science. There's some science tells some truth, and NASA tells a lot of lies. But we don't really want to confuse science with NASA. NASA, we don't want to do that. Okay? We don't necessarily want to confuse science with NASA. All right? Hold on. Hold that thought for just a minute. We're going to have to move on. I'm going to have to move on into the next segment. All right. We're going to move on. But just tell me, why isn't the water flinging into outer space? Mr. Earth spinning 1,000 miles per hour, NASA? Because we don't want to confuse science with NASA. Because science tells lies too. But NASA, they revert to science, but NASA is a little bit more powerful than you think they are. And that's for a short message. That's for another short message. Okay. Let's go to the second segment. Okay. All right. I want to go to let's start with spinning and rotating. Okay. Spinning and rotating. All right. So let's first get the definition of foundation. Okay. What is foundation? We want to first get the definition of foundation. Now, foundation, a basis such as a tenet, principle, or axiom, upon which something stands or is supported. Now, science got the word axis from axiom. Or NASA uses the word axis from the word axiom. But I want to give another definition because, mind you, a foundation is something, a principle or axiom, which something stands on, or is supported. Let's go to another definition. Let's talking about money. Let's go to the fourth definition: an underlying base or support. So an underlying base or support. A body or ground upon which something is built up on, built up or overlaid. So I'm not finished, but I want y'all to understand what a foundation is. So that's the best definition so far. A body or ground upon which something is built up or overlaid. Okay? So here are some synonyms for the word foundation: a base, basis, a bedrock, bottom, bottom, cornerstone, cornerstone, footing, footing, ground, groundwork, root, underpinning. So this earth is built on top of a foundation. Whether it's a physical thing or it's a principle, because our principal foundation is Christ. The physical foundation, earth has a physical foundation. Just like when you see these white boys out here building these skyscrapers, everything must have a foundation. A foundation can also be somebody's purpose. So therefore, Christ is my foundation. Christ is my purpose. You understand what I'm saying? This earth has a foundation, which means it was here just before he laid the earth on it. You understand what I'm saying? Something, meaning this planet. So we're not talking about, because science says that it's on its axis. But what type of axis? What is the axiom that the earth is founded on, that the earth was created on? So hang tight for a minute, and I'm going to let the scriptures tell us. All right? So now, let's start off with the very powerful 1 Chronicles 16 and 30. 1 Chronicles 16:30. 1 Chronicles 16 and 30. Once again, 1 Chronicles 16 and 30. Okay? Terrible before him. Tremble before him. Who? Yah. Tremble before Yah. All the earth. The world is firmly established. Wait a minute, what? Let me start that over again. Tremble before him, all the earth. The world is firmly established. It cannot be moved. It cannot be moved. It cannot be moved. The earth cannot be moved. The earth can't be moved. Now, who y'all believe? This is your problem. This is your problem. Who do you believe? Do you believe Christ or do you believe NASA? The problem with this world is y'all can't shake out of lies and deception, worship of other people, and human tradition. The world, not just my people. There's a lot of Caucasians, a lot of Arabs, a lot of Chinamen. Y'all can't shake lies. Y'all love lies. Y'all love lies. You do. You love lies. 1 Chronicles 16 and 30 just told you all. The world, the earth cannot be moved. Let's go to Psalms 104 and 5. Psalms 104 and 5. Let's go to Psalms 104 and 5. Let's go to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 104 and 5. Psalms 104 and 5. He set the earth on its foundations. He set the earth on its foundations so that it should never be moved. Christ set the earth on its foundation so that it can never be moved. Who y'all believe? You believe Christ or you believe NASA? Who you believe? The person that makes sense, or do you believe NASA? Do you believe the person that tells you that Earth is still and does not move, which makes sense? Or are you going to believe a group of dumb Caucasian scientists that's telling you the world is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour and rotating around, allegedly rotating around the sun within a 24-hour period? Who do you believe? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's go to 1 Samuel 2:8. 1 Samuel 2:8. 1 Samuel 2:8. 1 Samuel 2:8. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. The pillars of the earth. Pillars. So now we know that the earth is set on some type of foundation. What is the foundation? The foundation of this earth are pillars. So let's go to the Hebrew Strongs. The word pillars. Something narrow, a column, or a hilltop, or a situate. So a column. Where do you think people learned how to build columns? Do you think that the white man invented columns? Columns are support structures. Didn't Samson get in between two of the largest columns of the building and push them, the columns or the pillars of the building? Didn't the whole building collapse after Samson destroyed them and knocked them down? For pillars sustain things. Things collapse without pillars. Now we know that these pillars that are beneath this earth is not going to collapse. We know that. Why? Because Christ made these pillars. They're not going to collapse. But now, they're not narrow pillars necessarily per se, because Christ is different. The landmass, these pillars are massive pillars. We're not talking about a little column like what holds up a house. You understand what I'm saying? So now we know that the earth is sitting on not just one alleged, so-called, the way they describe it, axiom, but on multiple pillars. Because the earth, now, does this sound like a basketball? Does this sound like a basketball? Does this sound like a basketball? We know that we have something called sea level. Let's go to the word level. Let's go to the word level. What does level mean? Level. Well, let's talk about what they use in carpentry. What's used in carpentry? For a lot of women, in carpentry, there's a device that is used called a level. I'm explaining this to the women. Us men, we know what a level is. But for a lot of women, in case you don't know, a level is also a device. Now we know there's multiple definitions for level. You women are only thinking of level up, level up, level up. That's y'all level. Level up. Right? No, that's not what I'm talking about. Okay. A device so what is a level? A device for establishing a horizontal line. Or a plane. A plane is horizontal. A plane is flat. Flat. Clearly, this earth is flat. You at this point in the game, if this Bible is not making more sense to you than Nassau, then you are just stupid and you cannot be helped. This is not a matter of opinion. Stop being foolish. I'm trying to help y'all so y'all can stop being foolish and following after the world, following after society, and listening to every Tom, Dick, and Harry eating off everybody's plate just because they tell you that they have knowledge about something. These scientists, these Caucasian scientists, are a bunch of foolish men and women, and I will take them on any day. I will take Nassau on any day because Nassau only has deception and lies, and I have the truth. I can't lose. You understand that? I can't lose. Just like I will take on Islam. If one of you Negroes want to sit next to me and debate about the falsehoods of Islam, or if one of you but see, Christianity, the reason why I didn't mention Christianity, because Christianity just doesn't have a chance with the truth. Christianity doesn't have a chance. Neither does Islam, really, because the truth is the truth. But there are a lot of Muslim brothers out there that think they got it made out. You think you have it made out, don't you? I will trash your philosophies. You understand what I'm saying? I'll destroy your philosophies because these things must come to light so that my people can be set free from religion. I will do what it takes to set my people free from religion. Let's read this again because it says here, a device for establishing a horizontal line or plane by means of a bubble in a so basically a level is a device in carpentry that's used to establish a horizontal line. So if you want something to be perfectly left to right, we use a level so that we don't get it crooked when in carpentry. Or if you have to take a pencil and draw a line on some sheetrock, or if you have to take a pencil and draw a line on plywood, or no matter what you have to draw on, we use a level so we can make sure that we get that horizontal left to right line perfectly straight. So we know now that level has something to do with horizontal, not vertical, not vertical. And I'm explaining to you why this is very important. Okay, let's go to another definition for level. horizontal condition. So a level is a horizontal condition. You understand that? It's a horizontal condition. Listen, let's go. Does anybody know what the horizon is? Some people pronounce it as the horizon. Where do you think that came from? Perhaps the word horizontal. Listen, lies always contradict. When people are false, just like a lot of you internet people, when you're false and when you're fake, you will eventually contradict yourselves. You will eventually contradict yourselves. You understand that? Fake people, if you watch them long enough, they will eventually break fold and contradict themselves. It never fails. This is where science contradicts itself. What is the horizon? The line. Oh, I lost it. Hold on. The horizon is the line where the earth seems to meet the sky, the apparent junction of earth and sky. Now, here's another definition that science gave to the dictionary. I have you know that the dictionary isn't the entity that makes up the definitions. The Caucasian construct make up the definitions. Let me repeat that again. The dictionary only tells us the definitions. Now, this is something interesting that y'all need to understand. The dictionary doesn't make up the definitions. I hope y'all understand that. The dictionary just gives us the definitions. The Caucasian construct tells us what they want these words to mean. You understand that? Here is one of the definitions for horizon. Listen to all the hypocrisy within this definition. Pay attention. The great circle on the celestial sphere. Wow, a circle on the celestial sphere. Many of you right now don't understand that contradiction. I have to try to remember and get back to that. That's a contradiction alone. But if you don't understand where I'm coming from with it, biblically, then you won't get it. You're like, well, how is that a contradiction? Well, don't worry about that right now. But let me keep reading. It says the great circle on the celestial sphere, formed by the intersection of the celestial sphere. This is supposedly what the horizon is. Formed by the intersection of the celestial sphere with a plane, meaning a flat, tangent to the Earth's surface at an observer's position. See how they try to. So the Earth has a surface, but when we look on that, if the maps are so-called true, because the maps are falsehood. If the maps are real, okay? If the map, listen, when you become a pilot, you learn that the earth is not a sphere when you become a pilot. When you become a pilot, when you learn how to fly an airplane, if there's anybody, I've heard this from many people who've learned how to fly an airplane, they will tell you that the earth is flat. Any pilot that says the earth is a globe is a liar. All you got to do is go to, if there's any of you out there and you know a pilot, if you know, and they're not supposed to disclose that information to you now, I'm telling you this. Okay, they can lose their license. If a pilot comes on the internet and tells you, hey, listen, this earth is flat, they could lose their license. Just that simple. They're not supposed to, they're not taught that the earth is flat. They don't teach you that, but it becomes obvious. Many pilots have said, many testimonies of pilots. Some are no longer pilots. Many of them are no longer pilots. It becomes obvious that the earth is flat. Okay? Now, so now we want everybody to understand that in 1 Samuel 2:8, he explains that this earth is now the earth is sitting on pillars, but even these pillars have a foundation. Now, I want you all to pay careful attention to something, right? Let's before I do that, let's go to Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22. 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 It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants therefore are as grasshoppers, that stretch out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. Okay? So that's talking about the firmament. When it says he stretched out the heavens, that's talking about the firmament. Now, there is a dome over this earth. Okay? There's a dome over this earth. All right? The earth is a flat surface, and it tells you right here. So, this is not a basketball, because it's telling you right here that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. So he stretcheth out the heavens as a tent for us to dwell in. Okay? You have to understand that there's water above the heaven as well. It tells you that because on multiple occasions in the scriptures, he says that I will open the floodgates of heaven. The floodgate, that's why they're called floodgates. Because they have fountains in the bottom, which have water, which is water beneath our ocean, a bigger, larger water. And then the gates above are called floodgates because there's water above the firmament. And if he did that during the flood, okay? But now, he also has other gates as well that are not used to release water. Okay? See, this is the universe is not constructed the way you think it's constructed. Yah made everything with metal and rock, all the elements Yah created the universe with. You understand that? And if you go to the periodic table, all of that he uses to create the universe. All right, it's not something that we've never seen before. There's nothing that he created this world with, as how sometimes they say we found an alien prototype material and all of this, whatever. Everything is created by Yah. No aliens is bringing anything different than what Yah has already showed us. Now, maybe we haven't seen all of his metals, but it's still Yah's metals. It's nobody else's metals but his. You understand that? All right. It's not some distant being. It's not some beings that are distant from another planet that have a different creator or anything like that. There's only one creator of the entire universe. Okay? So y'all need to understand this. Now, I want to go to Job 28:24. Job 28:24. Job 28:24. Job 28:24. For he looketh to the ends of the earth, and seeth under the whole heaven. For he looketh to the ends of the earth. So let's find out what the end is. An end. A termination. A coast. A corner. A corner. Edges. Let's see what the edge is. Let's go to Merriam-Webster and let's put in edge. What's the edge? The cutting side of a blade, the sharpness of a blade, sharp, pointy. What is the edge? A noticeably harsh or sharp quality, sharp. A secondary but distinct quality. The line where an object or area begins or ends. A point near the beginning or end. Threshold of danger. Let's go to the word end. So a lot of it here has to deal with a line. Okay? So the end, the part of an area that lies at the boundary, a point that marks the extent of something. Okay? But it's funny that they use the word edge. So you got to understand something, right? At the end of the day, no circle should have any type of edge. No circle has any type of edge. An edge is an edge at the end of the day. The argument that Christopher Columbus was trying to make, because Christopher Columbus, he was willing. Well, you know what? I don't even see. That's the thing about history. You got to be careful about history because there are people that have actually set out and put their life on the line to see whether or not this earth has an end. Because the argument is this, right? In a sphere shaped, if the earth is sphere shaped, then you only constantly go around the planet like this and it has no end. You can't fall off of the planet or anything like that if there's no end. But we do know that there's parts of this planet that we can't go to. Okay? There are dangerous areas on this planet that a lot of people have been to and have not returned. We know this. Okay? Especially out there in the Pacific Ocean. Okay? You know that you can't go too far into the Pacific Ocean. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. The once you get to a certain point in the Pacific Ocean, there are people that have never returned. It's just that simple. You know better. This planet is close to 70 to 75% water. Close to 70 to 75% water. And that's not necessarily true as science. That's another lie because the earth is, half of the earth is in the water and half of the earth is standing out of the water. So it tells you that. So the earth is in the water and it's out of the water. So it's not, the earth is really not 70% water. It really isn't. The water may have a larger ratio, but earth is also considered the land masses that are beneath the ocean. Because we need to understand something. At the end of the day, the earth is standing on rock. This earth is standing on rock. Okay? So, listen, it's 7 o'clock, right? And I have a lot more to give y'all. Okay? But I'm really sleepy. And I gotta be somewhere at 8 a.m. Okay. Remember, I don't make money on social media. I got life that does not exist on Instagram. That I don't show on Instagram, because my life is nobody's business. Okay. The internet has really messed up a lot of people's minds, where they think they got to come on the internet for every little thing. That y'all some ignorant people. If you think that you got to come on the internet with all your information, tell everybody everything just for the approval of people. It's real sad, man. But I don't have a busy day today. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I got to handle, that's none of your business, but I got to handle something about 8:30-ish. I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to bring my wife to work. And then I'm going to take a nap. And then hopefully I can pick this message. I'm not finished this message. I have to pick it back up, because right now I'm just tired. Okay? I'm tired. And I apologize. I only came because I promised that I would have something for you by break of sun. So I had to keep my word. I had no intentions of doing this entire message right now. I'm sorry for constantly yawning, and I'm sorry for my sneezing and all of that, but those are the things that I go through when I just wake up. And the first thing I did was put this message out there. I know it's only about an hour and a half, and I know I didn't get to everything. There's a lot more, and I got a lot more information for y'all, but I'm gonna have to break this down in segments. That's the best way I can do it, because I need rest. I got family. I got to deal with my family. Okay, and that's just the way it is. Okay, this is life. All right, but listen, I hope that at least that little bit that I gave you all right there, I hope that it could have made some type of sense to you all. Okay, I'm going to get more. There's more scriptures. I'm going to go into the book of Enoch. I don't know if I'll go into the book of Enoch the very next message, which will most likely be tonight if I can do it. I'll let you know. But most likely, I don't want to separate this too long. So it's most likely going to be tonight. I'm going to get into this and try to knock all these segments off for y'all. But I hope that this has helped many of you all. Nassau is lying to you all, okay? And if I didn't prove it here, which I think I did, but even with just some of the common sense things that I explained to you, we just need to think about things sometimes and question the things that are spoken to us. Okay, peace and shalom. All right, peace and love. All right.